Welcome to Storycraft Portal, where stories were never just words. They were pieces of forgotten hearts. She promised she'd never leave, and he believed her like it was the only truth he knew. But one day she was just gone. No goodbyes, no reasons. He kept visiting the place where their story began, hoping to feel her presence in the wind and the silence. But the wind carried nothing back. Some love stories didn't break. They just faded quietly, painfully. It had been 2 days since she stopped replying. He told himself she was just busy, that she'd call back. But something felt off. Her last message was simple: talk later, okay? That was 48 hours ago. He stared at the phone again, as if it would ring just because he wished it to. The silence in the room was loud, thick with questions. He checked her social media. Nothing new. Her last post was a picture of the sunset, captioned, "Some endings are quiet." He had laughed when he first read it, thinking it was poetry. Now it haunted him. He walked to the park where they'd always meet. Her favorite bench was empty. He sat down, waiting like he always did. But this time, he wasn't sure who he was waiting for. Her, or a truth he wasn't ready to face. The bench felt colder than he remembered. Maybe it was the wind, or maybe it was the absence of her voice. She used to laugh here, loud, carefree, the kind of laugh that made strangers smile. He closed his eyes and tried to replay it in his mind, but all he heard was wind. He checked his phone again. No missed calls, no texts. He dialed her number for the 3rd time that hour. Straight to voicemail. "Hey, it's me again. Just checking in. Call me, please." His voice cracked. He hated that. Weakness. She always said he was too strong to show feelings. Maybe that's why she stopped talking. Maybe she thought he didn't care. But he did, more than she ever knew. He scrolled up through their old messages. So many "I love yous." So many promises. He wondered if promises faded too, like echoes in the wind. The house still smelled like her, faint lavender and something warm he could never name. He hadn't touched her side of the closet. Her scarf still hung on the hook by the door, just where she left it. He stood there, staring at it like it could speak. Maybe it would tell him where she went. Maybe it would whisper that this was all a joke and she'd walk in laughing any second now. But the silence stayed. He walked to her dresser and opened the top drawer. Makeup, notes, a small Polaroid of them at the beach. Her handwriting on the back. "Keep this smile forever." His fingers trembled. He didn't cry. Not yet. Grief was creeping in, but it hadn't exploded. Not yet. Her toothbrush was still by the sink. Half-used lotion. Shoes by the bed. She was everywhere and nowhere. That was the hardest part. He sat with her mother the next day. The living room was dim. The curtains drawn like the house was mourning too. Her mother looked older, like time had suddenly rushed through her. She poured tea with shaky hands. "She never stayed quiet this long," she said, eyes fixed on the cup. He nodded, unsure if words would help. "Maybe she needed space," he offered, weakly. Her mother shook her head. "Even when she was hurting, she called me." A long silence followed. He wanted to ask so many things. Had she seemed different? Sadder? Distant? But he was afraid of the answers. Or worse, the lack of them. Her mother finally looked at him and whispered, "You loved her, didn't you?" He blinked, surprised. "More than she ever knew," he said. And that was true. The kind of truth that hurt more than lies ever could. The next morning, he found it, tucked behind a stack of old books, hidden beneath a pile of papers. A letter, sealed with a faded red wax stamp. He didn't recognize the handwriting. "To my love, when you find this," his heart skipped a beat. He carefully opened it, his fingers trembling. As he read, the words blurred. It was from her, but it wasn't meant for him. It was a farewell. "I'm leaving because I don't want to hurt you anymore. You deserve more than what I can give. Please forgive me." The words echoed in his head, each one tearing at his chest. The letter ended with a final plea: "Don't look for me. I'll be gone." He couldn't breathe. All this time, all the waiting, and she had already said goodbye. The truth hit him. She had decided to leave, and he never even knew. He didn't know what to do with the letter. He couldn't just let it sit there, unopened for years. But what did it even mean? She left a note, but it didn't explain why she left, only that she had. The truth felt incomplete. He walked through the park again, where everything reminded him of her. Their first date, the secret spots they'd shared, the conversations that lasted until dawn. He thought about the things she said, the way her eyes always told the truth, even when her lips didn't. She was always so sure of herself, never afraid to speak her mind. But in the end, she was afraid of him knowing everything. What if this goodbye had been her way of protecting him from her demons? He could never truly know, but the search for answers would keep haunting him, like an unfinished puzzle. The days blurred into each other, a slow and painful crawl. He kept thinking back to their last conversation. It was simple, just a promise to see each other the next day. She smiled, kissed his cheek, and told him she'd be there. She never came. He clung to that smile like a lifeline, hoping it would give him the strength to keep moving forward. But never did. One evening, he sat in the same spot where they once laughed, the same spot where they'd promised to always be there for each other. His hands trembled as he pulled out the last photo they'd taken together. They were so happy. She was so happy. Why didn't she tell him? Why leave without a word? He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, he just stared at her face, wishing time would rewind, that he could fix whatever went wrong. He didn't know what he was expecting when he arrived at her apartment. He was just following the feeling in his gut, a feeling that there was something left behind, something he missed. When he opened the door, the apartment felt frozen in time. Her favorite blanket was still on the couch, a half-filled coffee cup on the table. Her book, the one she always left open, was left on the nightstand, but it wasn't the same as before. Tucked underneath, it was something he hadn't seen in a long time, her journal. He hesitated, but the pull was too strong. He flipped it open, pages filled with beautiful, messy thoughts. Then, at the very end, he found a name. Someone else's name. A note. "I'm sorry. I have to leave to save us both. I hope one day you'll understand." His heart stopped. She wasn't just gone. She had been hiding something. His heart pounded as he read the last note. The name. It was someone he had never heard of. Who was this person? Why had she hidden them from him? As he reread the words over and over, the truth became undeniable. She had loved someone else. Maybe she always had. He felt a sharp pain in his chest, like the weight of everything they had was just an illusion. He couldn't make sense of it. How could she have kept this secret? He opened the journal again, desperate for any clue, anything that might explain why she left without a word. He flipped through pages filled with moments of joy, of love. But at the end, the note remained the same. She wasn't just hiding from him, she was hiding from herself. And in the end, she chose to walk away from everything she'd ever known, to protect the love she couldn't have. It had been weeks since he found the journal, but the pain hadn't faded. He realized something, though. The hardest part wasn't finding the truth, it was accepting it. She had left him not because she didn't love him, but because her heart was divided, tangled in a past that neither of them could change. He couldn't hate her for it. He couldn't blame her. She had been running from herself, just as much as she had been running from him. He stood at the park again, the place where it all began. The bench where they once sat, full of hope, full of dreams. Now it was just another memory. He let the wind carry the last piece of her away. And for the first time, he felt a sense of peace. She was gone, but he would carry her with him forever. It was time to move on, and so he did.